హాయ్ యోయో వ్యూవర్స్, సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసేటప్పుడు అక్కడ ఉండే గంట సింబల్ ను ప్రెస్ చేయడం మర్చిపోవద్దు.
Garuda Express, an international courier service.
Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
It's wonderful to be here. It's so exciting to be here. We've all been hearing about Times Film Fest going on, and it's their 7th year. But the best part about it, I would say, is that the entry is free. And I love free things. But more than that, it's lovely that it encourages people to just come, and it's lovely to see that how many people actually love books. And books for me has always been my wonderful private world. As a child, I grew up, my father was in the government services, so every 2 years we were in a different city, new places. So my best friends have always been books. And in the process, I was always looking for new books, new topics, new things to read about. I remember the first time I heard of this wonderful author, Ashwin Sanghi, sitting here, was Chanakya's Chant. It was the first book that I read. And it was amazing. You know, I don't know, I hope I don't offend you when I say this, but you know, there's something, you read Dan Brown's books and everything, and for me this was like very much an Indian, I would not like to say it, just for the reference sake, such an Indian version of Dan Brown. There was this amazing take that he had taken, Preet Krishna Ki, the Rosable Line. Amazing. So got hooked onto his books from the Chanakya's Chant onwards, and since then I have been a fan. And so it's really amazing to be sitting here, and when he said that could you launch the cover of my book, I said, but why are we not launching the book so that I can take it back with me and read it? And then he's been giving these little tidbits where he just tells these 2 lines about it, and he's not really sharing what it is about, and it's driving me nuts because I can't, the suspense is killing me, and I'm like, what is it? Why can't you just come out with a book? But anyway, today we will satisfy ourselves with just launching the book cover. But we will still try to get a few things out of it. What is this book about? What has inspired you to write it?
First of all, thanks. I'm the entire audience which is here today on account of this momentous book. I must tell you, as far as this particular title is concerned, Sonali, the intention was to try and explore. There are, first of all, let's start with Kalachakra.
You know, Keepers of Kalachakra brings to my mind this whole mystic organization and some super secret organization.
Of course.
So can you imagine the intrigue that is already building up with
Absolutely.
it? What is this organization? What are you leading up to?
Absolutely.
What part of history are you going to demolish now? Because there are times where I feel, was the history I read right, or is he rewriting it, or is this the truth? So, because I don't know, the research that you do is so amazing that you actually start thinking, if that is so close to truth, maybe this was the truth. I mean, we would like to believe it because it becomes so exciting in his book.
No, I think for me the idea was that, first of all, let's start with Kalachakra itself. What does Kalachakra mean? Kal, time. Chakra, wheel. So it's the wheel of time. And actually, Kalachakra is a concept, a meditation concept that was taught by the Buddha to a great king whose name was Suchandra. And Suchandra was actually the king of a mystical land which we now know as Shambhala. And what was Suchandra after? He was after he wanted the ability to be able to attain the status of a bodhisattva without becoming a monk. So in other words, Buddha taught him a method where he could become a bodhisattva without becoming celibate, without giving up the worldly life. And so that is what Kalachakra is. In that sense, this book is a quest to attain that heavenly and pure land called Shambhala. So I think if Hemal is around, Hemal probably, if we were to show everyone the AV, do you have it queued, or
Can we see the AV?
So needs to have, and I said there is a Hindi word which describes it. It's called Besharam. And so if you are Beshram, then you'll plug in your book wherever you can. So I'm sorry, but I'm doing a little bit of my marketing.
You can also plug it in, and I'm sure the audience here is here because they are your fans, and I'm sure they're all... And it's about the book, and you know, I'm sure they're all very excited and waiting for this book. So, Ashwin, what I want to know is that, how do you come up with these concepts? What are these? Are these whirling around in your head? Have they all been in your head at some point of time? What is it? Where do they come out from?
I would love to answer that in the form of the name of a single malt, but the truth is that it's beyond the booze. I mean, frankly, I'm one of those, I take interest in a lot of things. Typically, you know, in the old days, people used to maintain journals. I have a modern take on that, which is that I, from the very beginning, have had an email account which no one else knows the ID of, because I use that email only to email myself. So I email myself almost every day. And so, for example, you and I could be having a conversation right now, and you might end up saying something that strikes me as very interesting.
And that would go into the email?
And that would go into that email. As of today, I've emailed myself about 12,000 times.
Wow.
So anytime when I'm looking at a new book...
Can we get a peek into those at some point? You know, a non-fiction, not that. I would love to peek into it.
Then I would run out of story ideas. That's like a treasure trove. But, so I go back to that. And I think, okay, now what's there which is in this, which is so interesting? So to give you an example, with this book, I was thinking to myself, I said, if you really look at the idea of Kalachakra, it's actually being one with the universe.
Right.
How do you actually blend yourself? How do you merge yourself into this very complicated web of interconnections? And I thought to myself, well, isn't that what quantum physics is attempting to do? So I wanted to bring out that notion that a lot of what...
It started with the idea, your lady gave you a thought, but after that, one has read your books, and I'm sure my audience will agree with this, that, you know, there's a lot of research that has to have gone into it for the details that is there. It's definitely not just the idea and then, you know, a little bit of single malt doing the rest of the job. It's definitely not that. There's a lot of hard work, one can see it because the research is amazing. So what happens then? Once you've got onto the idea, do you get onto the research bit?
So for me, in the, you know, all these books, starting with the Roosevelt line and working my way through till the Kalachakra, all of these books, typically they follow a rather set timeline. Normally, depending on the book, it could be anywhere between 8 months to 1 year worth of research.
Okay.
Which means that, for example, I don't know the first thing about the Kalachakra, I would actually have to get into that.
Absolutely.
And similarly, when it came down to the Krishna key, it was sort of once again revisiting the Mahabharata or reading the Arthashastra for Chanakya.
That's what I'm saying, just 8 months or a year is not really a lot of time.
Trust me, when you're going through it, it seems like a lot. So once I have that process completed, then I have the stirrings of an idea. And that's the time when I start plotting. So my plotting works, believe it or not, on Excel.
Research.
Yeah, and it works on Excel spreadsheets. So typically, for example, let's take, for example, the Sialkot saga.
Okay.
The Sialkot saga is a story about two boys post-1947 after the partition, and how their lives pan out over the next 70 odd years. What people don't know, and one day I'm going to share this, is that if you were to look at an Excel sheet, the first column would indicate the year, 1947, 48, 49, 50. Then against each of those, the two characters, Arvind and Arpaz in this case, those characters, what were their ages in those years? What would they have been doing? Would they have been in school? Were they setting up a business? Were they in jail? Were they experiencing their first romance? What were they doing? Then I would superimpose on that what was happening in India at that time, politically, culturally, historically. And once I have that, then that gives me the final column that what happens in that chapter.
This is really a unique way. I've never
5 to 9 job, which means I'm up at 5, and typically I'm done with my writing by 8:30 or 9.
In the morning?
In the morning.
Yeah, thank God.
And my parents are sitting in the front row, Sonali, right here. So typically I have to time myself because by 9 o'clock is when I go and have a cup of tea with them. So between
Will you
5...
discuss it with them? Are they their sounding boards?
No. Because then my morning ritual will be totally finished once and for all. So it's easier just to keep it as, because while I'm writing, at that point of time there are conflicting thoughts coming in and I don't even know as to how that book is going to turn out.
And what is it that you're going to keep eventually? Because how much rewriting happens with you?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
How much of rewriting happens with you?
I've always maintained that I'm not a writer but a rewriter.
But most writers that I've met say that.
So I'm a rewriter because I mean, this book has been through 7 rewrites.
Really?
7 rewrites. And either my editor had some inputs in it or my publisher wanted certain things.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How is your relationship with your editor?
Oh, I must tell you, my equation with my editor is superb. And, she's one of those people who has been with me from the first book, The Rosabal Line. And in fact, she came on board on account of the fact that she used to be with my publisher. And even after she left my publisher, she continues to edit my books. So the first edit is always done by her. And somehow or the other what happens is the process of editing is such that over a period of time, you build up a familiarity.
Absolutely.
And in fact, nowadays when she does edits, I don't even realize that it's her voice. It's almost like she's taken on my voice.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So initially, any fights, any arguments?
Oh yeah, initially the biggest fights were on the Rosabal Line. Because the Rosabal Line was a book which was so utterly confusing to the average reader. Luckily, the ones who were utterly confused didn't want to admit that they were utterly confused. So they said, oh, what a wonderful book. So, as a result of which, the book worked.
I don't agree with that, but anyway.
But, so the maximum number of fights and arguments were related to that.
And then since then you ironed out the differences and
Yeah,
your voice became one, and so it's been a great relationship since then.
Absolutely. And plus she's understood, she is Kolkata based.
Okay.
And
so the distance helps.
And one is distance, but the other part of it also, I must tell you, is that my own inspiration to a very great extent started with Kolkata. And I must tell you this, and for the audience which is here, I must tell them this little incident that I was at an event and in the afternoon I had a little time to kill, so I went with the driver to look at a temple.
Okay.
I walked into the temple and I realized that the deity that was being worshipped was actually Amitabh Bachchan. There was a throne along with a portrait of Amitabh Ji. So
I did not know this.
I was wondering whether this was real, but once I saw the pujari and I saw people, actually praying, I realized this was real. So I walked outside and there was a little boy selling puja ka saman, agarbattis and what have you. And from him I picked up a little prayer book known as the Amitabh Chalisa. Now, at that moment, I must tell you, I thought to myself that supposing you were to be knocked down right now and you die and you take birth 1,000 years later, by which time this whole cult of Amitabh worship has caught on. And now there isn't one temple but 100,000 temples. And someone taps me on the shoulder and says, do you think it was possible that Amitabh could have been a real man? Now that's the question which fascinates all of us, right? That could Ram have been there? Did he walk the earth? Was Krishna around? Was he a historical character? Or is everything made up? That's where the delicious conspiracy theory comes in. And what if? And that's what drives me. And I think my editor understands that.
What did it lead to, this Amitabh Bachchan temple?
So in fact, it led to that Krishna theme, which was basically the notion that what in case in the present day you had actually a 10th incarnation of Vishnu. What would it be?
Do you really believe, what is your thought on it? Do you think it was just mythology, or did these people actually walk the earth?
I think it was Lewis who said that a myth is a lie that contains a truth. And that's pretty much what it is. That there's a kernel of truth in that myth. So you dig deep enough and you will find that kernel of truth. But if you think that the entire thing is an absolute truth, then I don't agree. So to give you an example, my take on the Mahabharata, you had a work which was 25,000 verses called the Jaya. It became 50,000 verses by the time it became Bharat, and it became 100,000 verses by the time it was the Mahabharata. You mean to tell me that all the various rishis and sages didn't add their own fiction to it?
That's human nature.
That's human nature. Similarly, you take the Ramayana. You have 300 versions of the Ramayana, and each of those versions gives you a very different truth. So, for example, the Tulsi Ramayana treats Ram as God. Valmiki Ramayana treats him as a man. You take, for example, the Adbhut Ramayana and the Anand Ramayana. These two in particular from the south. One of them has Sita becoming Durga and killing Ravan. And the other one has Ravan performing the rituals for Ram before battle. So there are 300 versions. Which one will you say is the truth? That's the great thing. That's the great thing about our mythology, that there is your truth, my truth, everyone's truth.
So what is the truth of Kalachakra?
You have to wait. But
just give us a hint at least. I think we all deserve it. Don't you agree? We deserve it.
I would say that the notion, to my mind, is that there are many things in Vedanta which our seers, which our rishis, which our munis were looking into. The only difference was that they didn't have laboratories and they had no way of experimenting. But they had a much better developed intuitive sense. So either it's experimentation and practical knowledge, or it's intuitive knowledge. And both are leading us in the same direction. And that is pretty much the core of Keepers of Kalachakra.
Okay.
I can see someone has come to stand here and tell us something. So
yeah, could we? I'm sure the audience wants to ask some questions. Could we have some questions?
From Shiv Tantra, the initial inspiration was tantric, Shiv tantric practice, and of course in that you have Shiv and you have Shakti. Shiva, Shakti, because Shiva is not complete without Shakti. Shakti is not complete without Shiva. And so in similar vein, in Buddhism, you have the concept of Kalachakra and Vishwamata. They are two independent deities, but when they come together, then the world is balanced. I think it was some great author who once said that it's only when evil exists that we know good. And it's only when good exists that we know evil. And so you can't understand darkness without light. You can't understand heat without cold. You can't understand positive without negative. So it is that combination of Shiv Shakti which is very clearly depicted here. suddenly one fine day, after all the investments that my dad to me, one day I said कि मैं तो लेखक बन जाऊँगा. And I think somewhere along the way it's very important to have supportive print. That's the time that I sit with my publisher and my marketing guys and everyone in order to figure out, okay, now how do we make
My book club, on Sonali's book club, I'm waiting to get into his mind on that. But yes, for me it's a fangirl moment because I've read his books, loved his books. Very excited the book is coming out because of Kalachakra. What the story is about. So in that sense, very excited that I could spend this time with him, and I'm happy that you gave me the chance to launch the book cover.
It was a free-flowing conversation.
Yeah, but very, very tempting just to cover, and I still don't know what the book is about. I really wish it was the book we were launching.
Absolutely, but now it's only a 5-week.
Yeah, it's all yours. All the answers are with him today.
What interests you more? I mean, mythology, motivational, or which type of book you read?
I read every kind of book. It just depends on what what I feel at that point of time. But like I've said, where Ashwin's books are concerned, I think he kind of mixes. There's mythology, there's philosophy, there's theology. I mean, just say it, and there's everything. It's like a lesson of life in a very, very entertaining, thrilling way. And there's a whole lot of like literally like a nail-biting finish happening. So you can't ask for more, I feel.
So,
I mean, I don't know how.
Any plan to write some of the
Not on fiction, definitely. Non-fiction, at some point, yes. But like I said, everybody has one book in them that has come out. Now let's see when the second one comes out.
The first, according to me, it's one of the most difficult subjects to actually write about. So the mere fact that she actually did that book, my respect for her is tremendous. Because it's one of the most sensitive topics, how to bring up your kids.
Yeah.
So, Sonali ma'am, of the book you have read of Ashwin?
Yeah, I've read Chanakya's Chant. That was the first one that I read, though it was not the first one he had written. But I read Chanakya's Chant and I said, I like this author, and that's when I went back and read the Rosabelle line and Krishna Ki. I've not read the Sialkot saga yet, and I think it's a great opportunity that should I do this book next, or should we do the Sialkot saga? And
Well, whichever one takes your fancy.
yeah, so I'm looking forward to.
So you had a conversation with Ashwin now. So like, he motivated you to read Kalachakra.
Yes, completely. And everything that he's talking about, I love reading mythology. I love science fiction. I love fantasy fiction also, and I've always been a fan. And somewhere in all this, he kind of manages to add on a lot of entertainment and a lot of thrills. So it's like a crime thriller. So you can't define his books, I feel. There's a lot of everything happening in there.
And for those who think it's easy, just try explaining Heisenberg's uncertainty principle in a novel. Which is precisely what I've attempted.
And I'm sure he would have managed to make that entertaining. So I'm really looking forward to reading the book.
So when you will
Any upcoming project?
For me, no, it's all about the book today.
No,
It's about the keepers of Kalachakra today.
Sonali ma'am, even Sonali recently launched her
Absolutely.
book. So any further plan of
Unfortunately, I have not read the book yet, but I'm sure Soha is such a lovely person, and I would really wish her all the best for that question. No, not fiction for me, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did the right thing. I hope I will not be too long by now.
There is a shop that's
And I try, whenever possible, I try to do something.
Please don't make me do
You know it better. Got it?
Sonali ma'am, यहाँ पे आप Sonali ma'am, one more.
I should wait.
Sonali ma'am, यहाँ पे
ఈ వీడియో గనుక మీకు నచ్చినట్లయితే
లైక్ చేయండి,
షేర్ చేయండి
and subscribe చేయండి.